something that is important for a filmmaker is to have access to, their psychological truths and their emotional truths and their psychic truths and, who you really actually are. I had some traumatic events occur to me when I was a kid that have stayed with me. I kind of felt like I was blown up psychologically. This is not serious, I'm okay now. But it actually was pretty serious. But I also had a lot of love in my life. And I had a lot of kindness. And I realized I was, in my work and my writing and my filmmaking, trying to utterly traumatize an audience. Or I wasn't really thinking about an audience, but I was playing with trauma. You saw some of it in this episode. It's very traumatic what happens to these folks. If somebody would ask me what American Primeval, I'd be making the show and working hard. It was a lot of work. And people would be like, oh, what are you working on? I'm like, American Primeval. What's it about? Well, it's about a mother trying to save her son. That's all it is to me. At the end of the day, that's a show about love, between a mother and a son, and then Taylor Kitsch's character and Shawnee Two Moons, the Native American girl, become this broken family, each sort of deeply, deeply traumatized, which is something I'm comfortable with, trying to kind of help each other. I always wanted to do an adventure film, because I don't call this a Western. To me, it obviously has Western components, but it's meant to be an adventure, like a survival story. And there was a movie called Jeremiah Johnson that Robert Redford did, which I saw with my dad when I was a kid. And I remember just being blown away by that film. And Redford played this kind of city slicker dude who was coming out west to try and find gold and have a life and stuff. And he was so inept that he was found by the Indians, like in a stream, frozen water, trying to catch a fish with his hands. And the Indians didn't even want to waste an arrow on him. So they just looked at him and said, he'll die. And they left him. And the film tells the journey of him learning to survive and becoming feared and respected and fundamentally deeply respected as a force by the native tribes. And I was like, oh my God, that was like one of the films that lit my fuse as a kid. And so that was always playing in the back of my head. And then I'm friends with Mark L. Smith. And I had heard he was writing a film, which was based on another story, Peter O'Toole film, called The Revenant. And I knew that story a bit. I knew about Jim Bridger. So I started talking to him, and I'm like, I bet you don't want to leave this world, do you? He's like, what are you talking about? I go, what if we just find another story, but we stay kind of in this energy, in this vibe, And I took in my office, I have an ice axe, this steel kind of nasty ice axe. I have weird shit in my office. And I'm like, let's do this. And I handed him the ice axe. And that's all we had to start with, was just an ice axe.
Yeah.
And out of that came this whole series. If you can figure out a way of being truthful in your work and making work that connects, right? Connection. If you can demonstrate the ability to connect with an audience, and it doesn't have to be, certain directors, Steven Spielberg connects with a whole lot of people. Gaspar Noé does not, but they're each able to continue working, right? But there is a connection with Spielberg or Gaspar Noé or lots of other people. I think you have to figure out why you're doing this, like who you are, like you are, not who people tell you are. And therapy's good for that if you don't have therapists.
They're making movies as therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, but like sometimes you don't know who you are. You think you do, but you don't. And so trying to figure out who you are, I think, is important if you want to be able to make work that truly impacts and connects. You have to be able to do that. And if you're able to do that, and not everybody is, and you got to be honest with yourself quick, right? And, there's no reason to think that this is the only path. There's so many great paths. But if you feel like you can do it, and you're sensing a real connection, and you can tell when it's real, and you start doing work, you'll be able to get the attention of people. It's not that hard to get someone from Sony or Universal or Netflix to at least kind of look your way. And then it's about figuring out how to explain to them and make them understand that the work you want to do is in sync with what they want, which is obvious. We all know what they want, right? Show business. We know what they want. And that's what they should want. And if you can make them feel, what's going to give them what they want is you giving them work that connects. And the only way you can do that is you're truthful with yourself. And you ride that wave of truth. And then you have a chance. This is 135 days of shooting. And so I have to stay mentally and physically in shape. So for me, the most important thing is going to bed, getting sleep, and then I would get up. I'm weird. I get up at like 4:30 in the morning, and I would work out every morning and have someone come to turn my gym into a garage into a gym, take a sauna, take an ice bath. I get OCD, make the same smoothie every morning, go to work, listen to the same music, and then get there, and my incredible crew has set everything up. Mm-hmm. So I just get to walk on with my dog. And as my producing partner used to say, like, Pete, we're just here trying to make all your idiotic little stupid dreams come true. And so I have to acknowledge all the work that they've done. Yeah. But basically I can be like, hey, all right, so start saying your lines. You start doing that. What does that feel like? Go over here. My cameramen are handheld and they're
so
like.
No real shot list coming in.
No, never shot list. They're ninjas. And my cameramen I've worked with so long, so they'll just start, making shots and finding shots. And we'll just start rolling. Mm-hmm. And there's no drama. And if someone needs a touch up, someone will just come in. We're shooting. It's an energy, like a real dance that gets going. And then I don't cut. So we'll do it again and then move over here and do it again. And, oh, her wig's coming off. We'll tell her to fix it. She fixes it. Still rolling. Do it again. And the actors love it because they don't have the stall that happens every time you cut. It's this total stall.
Everyone runs in.
And everyone runs in. And it's like just because, and I learned this from acting, like let it get going. Let an energy get going. Like let them play. And then improv starts happening and an actor gets confident. And he's not, or she's not in her head so much. And sometimes scenes that people thought would take 2 days or longer are finished in 2 hours. And it's over. And everyone's like, whoa, what was that? And there's so much coverage. And the actors got to kind of experience a play-like flow experience. And the crew got to experience it because it's horrible being on a film crew. It's a horrible job, really stressful. And you're just sitting around waiting for some idiotic person like me to announce what his vision of the moment is. And okay, that's the idiot's vision. They don't care. Crews don't care. It's a secret. Don't tell anyone.
Well, they want to work. So, and
it's a job.
You're
it's
keeping everybody working.
Grip, electric. Most people, it's a job. So there's a certain level of misery on a film set. And if that the director is directly responsible for whatever level of misery or joy is on a film set. It all comes from you, all of it. And if you're a mean, angry, miserable asshole, they'll work, they'll do it, they'll shoot for 18 hours while you try and figure out your bullshit, but they'll hate you. And they'll hate themselves for ever agreeing to do this career. And their wives will leave them and their children. Like, it's horrible. It's really bad. It's really
spiraling.
Bad. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, drug addiction and alcoholism and divorce and misery. And I'm like, it's the director's fault because you created this insane, directors shoot for 20 hours a day. Like, think about that. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't do that.